weapons on. I'll tell you something that I don't think people know about, but the UAP task force, which Jay Stratton ran, they put in place, based on that data of the connection with nukes, they put together a plan to lure in UAP with nuclear elements, so nuclear aircraft carrier with some nuclear weapons on it, and they had all these data collection systems in place, and it worked.
Whoa! So they put out bait.
Without doing a test.
Just the fact that they had nuclear weapons
existed and was being put into place, it attracted, and they caught a lot of data on it.
Whoa!
And we shouldn't think that was the only time they did that.
I think there's this assumption that presidents can walk in the Oval Office on day one and say, all right, take me to Roswell, show me the alien bodies, I want to see the video of the autopsy, I want to see the whole thing, open it up. I think that really is a naive understanding of how our government works. Even presidents have been... I think there's this assumption that presidents can walk in the Oval Office on day one and say, all right, take me to Roswell, show me the alien bodies, I want to see the video of the autopsy, I want to see the whole thing, open it up. I think that really is a naive understanding of how our government works. Even presidents have been operating on a need-to-know basis. The rationale, the justification was, the president shouldn't know about these things because that way the president always has deniability. All they need is a nod in this direction or in that direction. But that begins to ramp out of control. Frankly, I don't even know if the president would know who to ask. You could go to the director of the CIA, nowadays the director of national intelligence, and ask them. And even that person may not know because those people rotate. But the people 3 layers underneath them that are there for 30 years, to them, it's like I've seen these people come and go. And unless they ask, I have no obligation to tell them it exists. We've had repeated instances of something operating in the airspace over restricted nuclear facilities, and it's not ours.
These are otherworldly things that are performing maneuvers that haven't been seen.
I have seen with my own eyes non-human craft and non-human beings.
This is so secret. There have been very few people in our entire government that have been allowed or provided access to it.
Even presidents have been operating on a need-to-know basis, but that begins to ramp out of control.
It's not acceptable to have secret parts of government that no one ever sees. People have been hurt protecting and hiding this information.
Some people claim it would cost them their lives if they spoke out about these things.
You had information being locked away that could change the trajectory for a species.
This is the biggest discovery in human history.
So here we are, 2026, this alien stuff, UAPs, the age of disclosure, it's all heating up to a boiling point that has just grown exponentially since, what was that, 2018 or whatever, when it was spoke on by the powers that be in the US of A about the existence of UAP, or why did they switch it from that to, I want to know, why couldn't it just continue to be UFO? It's got to be UAP, and we have task force in place, as you heard Dan Farah, creator of the Age of Disclosure, over there on Joe Rogan, where he was talking about this task force using nukes and stuff like that as bait to reel in the UAP or UFOs or whatever you want to call them. And that's real frightening to me. As for all y'all out there, please leave your thoughts and opinion in the comments. This is something that has been for many years, that there is a lot of people that believe that this NWO plan or the end times plan or what have you, whatever you want to call it, that has been theorized forever, would be brought into play by a alien invasion or something to that magnitude that would get everyone to fall in line and listen to the powers that be, that we would be fooled and fear-mongered into this. And I'm not saying that's actual factual. I'm not saying I have the answers. I'm saying that that's what many have theorized, like William Cooper and Behold a Pale Horse and many other people out there. Leave it in the comments if you believe in aliens, if you believe that there will be a false flag type deal, a fake alien invasion to get everyone to follow the big master plan. And even if you do believe that, like, aliens can still be real. Two things can be true. But when you hear of Dan Farah talking about the task force using nukes to reel in the UAPs or whatever, there's a lot of people who have thought, and I kind of lean into believing that this could definitely be true. And if you guys recall, right before Trump got sworn back in, this second term is when there was all those drones all over the place in New Jersey, all over, and everyone was freaking out, and it was in the news all the time. And he was like, if I get in office, we'll touch on this, we'll take care of this, and you best believe they know what it is. And I feel like he said something to the extent that it could be our own countries' drones, or it could be foreign countries or something like that. And that's something that I've heard a lot of people theorize as well, is that a lot of these UAP could actually be US or other countries that just have advanced technology that is not like admitted to the people that it exists. As I do believe, technology, what we are aware of, everyday folk, right, is probably 10 times advanced capabilities behind the scenes when it comes to technology. So, could that be a big part of it, that a lot of these UAP are aliens, that they're us or other countries? As I've, apologize, I'm repeating myself a bit, but it's just a really pretty crazy topic to speak of. And then if that is indeed what some of these things flying around are, that they are humans in them, doesn't mean that aliens still couldn't exist and people got the technology from aliens. There's just so many different theories and possibilities out there, but more or less what I wanted to talk about in this video is just get everyone's take out there, and to know if you have seen this movie and what you believe to be true. And if you believe that this stuff, since 2018, when the powers that be spoke about this, it's just like more and more it's being discussed almost a little bit too much. Like, they want us to think that. And when it comes to movies and such as well, I've always spoke about this in videos over the years since creating content, that there's kind of a wink wink, nod nod, mental programming, if you will, that, to put it simply, art is imitating life, if you will, and that there's a lot of things that are put into films to kind of program people's mind and get people ready for certain things to take place, and a bit of mental conditioning, if you will, and get people ready, gauge their reaction. See, now with the internet, everyone hops online and shares all their thoughts and opinions about everything. And with all of that being said, there's reports coming out here. Like I said, this stuff is in the news all the time now, where this a woman who used to work for the Bank of England, she was like high ranking in the bank, Heather McCall was her name. She served as a senior analyst in financial security at the UK Central Bank, and she would prepare for events that could impact the economy. She's come out and said she believes a declaration of the magnitude of the U.S. admitting aliens exist flat out, which she's saying she believes is the next step. And I would believe that to probably be true as well. And she's more or less, by the looks of these reports, saying she thinks 2026 is going to be the year. And she said this would send shockwaves through the markets and could trigger bank collapses and civil unrest and things like that. Right there is a bit of what I'm talking about, with people theorizing that this could be the plan put in place to kind of change society forever and bring on the end times, or whatever the next step is. I know it's all conspiratorial or whatever, but this is literally what these reports are saying. Listen, it says, until recently, suggestions that governments were covering up the existence of alien life were limited to a small coterie of conspiracy theorists and UFO activists. However, a host of senior American officials, including the Secretary of State Marco Rubio, the New York Senator Kristen Gillibrand, and James Clapper, a former director of national intelligence, have recently indicated their belief in the possibility of intelligent non-human life. Rubio, a close ally of Trump, told the makers of the recently released UFO documentary, The Age of Disclosure, "We've had repeated instances of something operating in the airspace over restricted nuclear facilities, and it's not ours." And this woman is basically saying right here, here's a quote: "The United States government appears to be partway through a multi-year process to declassify and disclose info on the existence of a technologically advanced non-human intelligence responsible for unidentified anomalous phenomenon, UAPs," she claimed. "If the UAP proves to be of non-human origin, we may have to acknowledge the existence of a power or intelligence greater than any government and with potentially unknown intentions. It is entirely possible that government leadership and their central banks have not been properly briefed on the topic. UAP disclosure is likely to induce ontological shock and provoke psychological responses with material consequences. There might be extreme price volatility in financial markets due to catastrophizing or euphoria, and a collapse in confidence if market participants feel uncertain on how to price assets. Using any of the familiar methods, there might be a rush to perceived safe assets such as physical gold or other precious metals in some types of government bonds. Alternatively, previous metals might lose their status as perceived safe assets if people speculate that new spacefaring technologies will soon increase the supply of precious metals. There might be a rush to digital currencies such as Bitcoin, which may prove appealing if people question the legitimacy of government and lose trust in government-backed assets." So right here is what we're talking about. Will metals and such, the price go down? How will other assets be affected? This could cause civil unrest. Banks could collapse. The economy could take a big hit. We have to put contingencies in place in case this happens. There's a real chance of this. People within the government in the U.S., people close allies of the president are speaking out about this. You know what I mean? This is like serious stuff, and whether you believe it to be true or not, or it's true, but you still believe there'll be flucked up tactics used that aren't all the way true to put some kind of big plan into play, or if things are just going to fall apart, or war could happen, or countries could collapse. Like, this is exactly what those people with those theories have been talking about for the longest time. And this woman, was a big player in this UK bank, and this is, I don't know, it's interesting, but a bit scary, a bit spooky, and I just wanted to tap in with everyone out there and have this conversation with you guys. So please, as always, if you're new, hit the button, subscribe to the channel, help me break through algorithmically and all that. But more importantly, let's discuss this. This is in the news more and more every day, and this report here is exactly what the quote-unquote conspiracy theorists have been talking about forever, and is freaking me out a little bit, So what say you? Let me know. I'll definitely be paying attention, and stay tuned for updates, and fill me in too. Like I always say to everyone out there, we talk about news, we talk about sports, we talk about just all kinds of current events and everything from internet trends and stuff to wild-ish like this. But I never claimed to be no expert. You know what I'm saying? This is just a place to get conversations going. So let's do just that. And, fill me in if there's some stuff out there I need to be aware of, if you believe so, or you believe there's things that I'm missing or whatever. Let's discuss it all. So peace and God bless everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Look forward to talking to y'all. It's Coffee, and I'm up out of this thing. Peace.